So after speaking with Levias, we find out that our next quest is to travel to the three regions of Skyward Sword and to learn a part of the Song of the Hero song from the three dragons in the various regions. We are going to be doing that, but in Chapter 16 we'll be covering that. And that's a pretty lengthy quest. In fact, it's really three new dungeons in a sense. But we'll be tackling that in Chapter 16. For now, there are some additional side quests that are now open. In particular, now that Thunderhead has been, I guess, cured of the parasite, we can now travel to Bug Rock and take part in the minigame here. You can drop down to the island and you'll find Stritch. Stritch was previously sort of a bad guy in a sense. It's all relative, meaning at the beginning of the game he was sort of like partners. He was part of Groose, his like bully clique, and however, now that Thunderhead has been, I guess, cured of the parasite, we find him here at Bug Rock, and he's a bug lover, and he's running a bug minigame. There are two levels. There's Beginner and Wrangler. And the only real difference here is the number of bugs you have to search for. In the beginner mode, you only need to find 5 different bugs, and it's basically all 12 of the bugs found within Skyward Sword can be found here at Bug Rock, and you just need to find 5 of them in the beginner mode and 10 of them in the Wrangler mode. It's a little different each time you play. And basically you just need to run through the island and you can find all the bugs. After playing for a little while, you'll quickly come to realize where all the different bugs are. They're always in the same locations each time you play the game, so it's just a matter of I guess trial and error in a sense. You just need to learn where they are, and you can catch them from that point. So there's 5 of them here that you need to get in this first quest, or in this if you're playing it on the beginner quest. And the time you are really shooting for is 2 minutes. If you are able to catch all 5 of the different bugs within 2 minutes, then you'll be able to get a reward of a treasure. However, that's not really the big reward here at Bug Rock, and there's a much larger reward, and we'll be getting that in a bit later in this same particular video. For now, though, it's a good idea to just play through the game and get a grasp on one, the overall layout of the island, where some of the bugs are. You could, even if you play it enough, you could almost memorize where all the various bugs are located, just so that when it comes to a more important quest in just a moment, you'll be able to do it in a quicker time. Furthermore, this is an excellent game for friends to play in terms of almost like a friendly competition of trying to get the high score, and especially if you have you and your friend, or you and your brother or something, or sister, where it's like a contest, a mini game, where it's much like all of the other mini games in Skyward Sword. So I need one more bug here, and I only have really 10 seconds left to go. Sort of running out of time, but let's see. There it is, and I was able to get the 5th and final bug, at least for the beginner mode, in just under 1 minute and 59 seconds. So I had one second to spare, but doing so, Stritch will reward you with a set of 5 of a random bug. In this case, I got Sky Stag Beetles. I think I said treasure earlier, but you get bugs as the reward. But that's the basics of what Bug Rock is all about. Once you do visit Bug Rock and speak with Stritch, and if you play the minigame, this actually opens up a side quest, one of the Gratitude Crystal side quests, and it's actually Beetle's side quest. So our next destination is going to be back over at Skyloft, and we are going to go to Beetle's air shop. So I'm sort of fast forwarding just to make the flying portions go a little quicker. But once you arrive at Skyloft, go ahead and use your Beetle or slingshot or bow and arrow or whatever means you choose to hit the bell on Beetle's air shop, and then go ahead and climb the rope to enter Beetle's shop, basically. I mentioned earlier that you could purchase the piece of heart if you like, but it costs somewhat of a hefty amount, being 1600 rupees. However, if you complete Beetle's side quest here, you'll be able to get it for a discount. So Beetle wants to tell you something, but he can't do it while pedaling. So something just seems off with him. He's not as happy as he usually is. But just go to sleep on his air shop, and when you awaken, you will be at Beetle Island. Afterwards, run outside, and you can just jump down or run down the steps, and you'll find a bubble over Beetle's head. So run on over and speak with him. So Beetle is missing his Beetle. Kind of funny. I'd like to mention that if you walk around the corner of Beetle's airshop on the actual ledge, you could climb the ladder and jump over to the goddess treasure chest there. I completely forgot about it, and I ended up getting it a little bit later, but you could pick that up right now. Anyway, I'm sort of going to jump ahead since it's just backtracking at this point, and I'm going to fly on over to Bug Rock once again. Once you arrive, you can speak with Stritch, who now has a bubble over his head. So basically you have to play the game at Bug Rock and score under 3 minutes on the advanced stage. You'll need to find 10 bugs, and it's particular bugs you need to find, and in some cases you need to find multiples of the same bug. A few things worth noting: in certain bugs, even if you scare it off, you can just return to it just a few moments later, and that bug will basically regenerate or come back to its original point. So if you miss a bug like that one I just did, you can actually come back to it in a few moments and it will actually return. In general, it's pretty much the same as before, and as I was saying, it takes a lot of memorization in the sense that you want to know where all the bugs are. But even if you don't, you actually might even be able to win this game without even having to memorize the bugs. You might simply be able to just run through it and collect them in 3 minutes. But even if you fail, you can just keep trying at it, and it's not that difficult overall. In fact, it's really not that hard at all. It just takes some practice, some trial and error, and you'll eventually get it. One thing that I found funny about this whole thing, what is Nintendo's problem with the word Beetle? I mean, we have the character Beetle who lost his bug, which is a Colossus beetle, and we also have an item that is a beetle. What the heck? I mean, couldn't they use a better diversity of words here? I understand the character Beetle and the bug Beetle, since that makes sense, but I don't know. The whole thing is kind of frustrating, and when I was writing the text guide, I always got the T and the D mixed up because Beetle and Beetle are spelled differently, and I don't know. Anyway, in this case, you have 3 minutes to defeat or to complete the advanced level, as opposed to just 2 minutes where in the basic level. In general, you do have to collect 5 more bugs, but it's really not that much harder. In fact, I don't even think it's harder at all. In fact, I think the harder mode with the extra minute is actually easier, because in the shorter mode, you had a lot of skipping of bugs, pretty much, because those were not the ones you needed to collect, while in the harder mode, you pretty much need to collect not all of the bugs, but at least a majority of them. In fact, I've collected 9 of the 10 in the first just over 2 minutes. So I have a whole 40 seconds to collect the last one. And even this, I didn't actually play through the Bug Rock my first 2 playthroughs of the game, and it was only my 3rd and 4th playthrough. So this was actually only the 2nd time I actually ever did the Bug Rock, or the advanced stage, and I was able to get it in 2 minutes and 44 seconds. I shouldn't say 2nd time, but only my 2nd playthrough. I think I played through the advanced one twice in my first run through. Either way, once you've scored under 3 minutes, Stritch will give you the Colossus Beetle horned Beetles, and you'll get Beetle's insect cage. Cool. That is actually the last item too that fits on the start screen, or the menu screen that showed all your items. So we're nearing the end of the game in terms of the collectibles. So our next destination is back over at Beetle's Island. So you want to just jump back on your loft wing and make your way back on over to Skyloft. Once again, I'm just fast forwarding through the flying areas just to quicken it up a little bit. But once you arrive at Skyloft, go ahead and once again hit the bell on Beetle's air shop, and you'll be able to, get back up to his air shop. Once you arrive, you can go ahead and speak with Beetle here, but much like before, I guess he can't ride a bike and talk at the same time. So he basically says, why don't we talk later this evening? So, in other words, go to bed, and he'll fly the air shop over to Beetle Island at nighttime, and you can continue the conversation there. So once it's nighttime, just go ahead and exit Beetle's air shop. And he's by his little campfire once again, and he'll have a bubble over his head now that you have his little special item. So go ahead and talk to him.
Oh!
So your reward for completing Beetle's quest is 5 additional gratitude crystals. This brings the total of our gratitude crystals up to 70. There's only 10 of them left. Once again, I forgot to get the gratitude crystal. It's the goddess treasure chest. mixing up words. But you could climb the ladder around Beetle's air shop, jump on over. I'll be getting it in the next video, or in the next chapter, after I realized I forgot to get it earlier. Anyway, now that you've completed Beetle's quest, you can go ahead and purchase any item, basically the next item you purchase, and he will give you a deal on it. Since you helped him out, he'll give it to you for half the price. And your best bet is to purchase the Piece of Heart for the half price, just because it's the most expensive item, and this marks that it'll only cost you 800 rupees instead of 16. So it's the best savings to purchase the Piece of Heart. That's the last item you're ever going to need from Beetle's air shop. So if you got the treasure chest, the goddess treasure chest on Beetle Island, there really is no other reason ever to go back to Beetle's air shop. It's kind of funny that he keeps riding around on his air shop pedaling, and he has no items for sale. This doesn't make any logical sense, but and even if you talk to him, Nintendo didn't even update the words he says. He's still trying to sell you items even though he has nothing for sale. Anyway, now that we do have 70 gratitude crystals, we can run on over and speak with Beetle to get the next reward. So run on over underneath the graveyard in Skyloft and go and speak to him. So we've gotten 600 rupees from Beetle for collecting 70 gratitude crystals. It's a lot of rupees, but unfortunately, at least in my opinion, it's a little too late. There's not that much we can do with rupees at this point, since we've purchased all the items from Beetle's air shop, and we've also upgraded almost all of our items at the scrap shop. So, I don't know. I suppose this would have been useful much earlier on. There's only 10 more gratitude crystals left, and we'll be getting those in the next chapter. At this point, you can go to either Farron, Eldon, or Lanayru. You're going to have to complete all 3 of the next quests, but you can do them in any order. It's almost reminiscent of the original Legend of Zelda. I'm personally going to go to the Farron region first, and something strange has happened as there's only 2 locations we can drop into. I'll be heading to the behind the temple area, and we'll see what's going on in the next chapter.